For years, we've been told to aim for the messy love, the chaotic lifestyle, the casual relationships, to root for Carrie and see Natasha as the boring beige wife, the obstacle in the true romance. But today, we're finally here to flip the script, and we're gonna see what being a Natasha in a world of Carries is actually the most self-loving thing that you can do. Why you should always strive to be a woman with impeccable style, a great career, high standards, just like Natasha. Hello my loves and welcome back to my channel. We are back with a brand new video on iconic characters, and since you absolutely love the one on Charlotte York, it was only right to talk about Natasha as well. As always, if you're new here, my name is Mirella and I love sharing all things self-care, class and self-growth. So without further ado, let's get straight into the video. So first things first, when Sex and the City first came out, I feel like the character of Natasha was very misunderstood. And yes, people understood she was beautiful, mysterious, a bit unreachable, but she was still the antagonist. And I feel like the narrative they tried to push was to try to make us root for Carrie. She was the woman who lost the love of her life and had to get him back. So nobody really cared what she did with Big when he was with Natasha. Nobody cared about her obsession. They tried to make us like Carrie, and so they tried to make us root for Carrie. But watching it now, especially after watching it the second time, all I can see in Carrie is an insecure, obsessed woman with just a girl who was trying to live her life. But the goal today is not to focus too much on the story and what I think about it, because I actually like Carrie for so many reasons. I feel like all the characters have some good sides and some bad sides, but my goal today is to make you understand why you should aim at being the Natasha of the story. Okay, let's start with the first point. Natasha to me is the true embodiment of class, both internally and externally. But starting from her manners, she was always constantly composed. Even when talking with Carrie, after she literally ruined her whole life, she could be very direct. She knew how to make people respect her, but she never shouted. She never made a scene. She didn't even waste her energy with people who didn't deserve it. And to make another example, even more simple, let's think of the first time they met, that she met Carrie. Another girl meeting the ex-girlfriend would have felt insecure, or she would have tried to act superior. Well, all Natasha ever did was being insecure in herself, super kind to Carrie in every situation. While Carrie was getting obsessed with her, she would literally obsess over the smallest things, because that is literally a reflection of the security you have in yourself. And when you're very secure, you don't need to shout, you don't need to make a scene, you don't need to become obsessed with someone. It is just a reflection of your insecurity. In fact, linked to this is definitely the fact that she had incredibly high standards, and that was definitely reflected into her lifestyle and into what she got in her life. I want to remind you that she was only in her 20s when she met Big, this older, successful man. She was working at Ralph Lauren with her career in fashion. She was in Paris. She was something like 10 years younger than Carrie, and she was so confident already, so secure in herself. Yes, Big was a horrible man. I would say also an insecure man who cannot keep stability in his life. But you really see her high standards the moment in which the first time that he did something, she left him and she went on with her life. She never chased him back. She never chased Carrie. She literally couldn't care less about Carrie. She just went on with her life, and that's it. Kept doing exactly what she was doing, and that is a true reflection of her high standards, even after something so big as a divorce. She's not the kind of woman that would chase a man or stay in a situation that doesn't respect her. So if you want to be more like her, girl, you cannot keep chasing your ex of 5 years ago. You need to stop staying in situations where you're not valued, and you need to just move on. That is why she will always win no matter what happens to her. It all comes down to your high standards. Okay, going back to her impeccable style, I already mentioned that for me, she's the true embodiment of class and elegance, and that is definitely reflected into her style as well. I would say that she's a perfect example of a 90s minimalist, and if you follow me already, you know how much I love this topic and how much I relate to it. For some people, 90s minimalism is just boring, but for me, it's a true reflection of quality. And again, I already made so many videos on this topic, so if you're interested in my take on this, definitely go check them out. I feel like Natasha is truly the best example for this. Now, for the next point, I want to focus on something that I can already smell from the comments, because I know that someone would have said it if I didn't mention this, which is the handwritten letter typo from Natasha to Carrie, which to me really shows once again the jealousy and the obsession of Carrie towards Natasha. Now, is it stupid to make that typo? Yes. But I want you to focus on one thing. While she was handwriting every single letter and she made one single typo, Carrie was literally in her bedroom like a teenager calling Miranda to tell her, and I quote, "Good thing she got married, that woman's an idiot." That to me is the true reflection of desperation, insecurity, and obsession. In fact, I'd like to underline the fact that the minimalism in Natasha's lifestyle was not just a matter of style or a matter of how she dressed, but was also reflected into her lifestyle. She was a person with a routine, with order, and again, even if she was something like 10 years younger than Carrie, she was a very classy, thoughtful person. She was very stable. She had order. She has high standards, as I already said before. Carrie, on the other hand, still couldn't have a stable job. Even in her 30s, she was still toxic and unstable. And again, she showed the insecurities of a teenager. Another thing is that Natasha was also very career-driven. Again, while Carrie still couldn't find a stability in her life, living paycheck to paycheck, she couldn't even find a real job. She was going around asking her friends for money. This is something I will never forget, when she went to Charlotte and tried to make her feel bad because Charlotte wouldn't fix her problem for her. Natasha, in her 20s, was in Paris, was working for Ralph Lauren. She already had her life figured out. And again, once she left big, she went back to doing exactly what she was doing. So again, be a Natasha. Focus on yourself. Focus on your hobbies, your career. Focus on having higher standards and on working on yourself. Because when you don't do that, you will spend your whole life asking other people to fix your problems. Natasha would never chase. She would never become obsessed with a girl like Carrie. She would never become obsessed with any girl, to be honest. Another thing is that she was also mysterious. You don't really have access to her life. She's a very polite and kind person. In fact, something I really said before and that I want to underline is the fact that even when she first met Carrie, even though she was Big's ex-girlfriend, she was never insecure. She was always kind. She always greeted her with a smile, you know? Now, to conclude this video, I want to make a reflection on why society seems to prefer the Carries of the world instead of the Natasha. And the reason is actually very simple. First of all, insecure men, and even women actually, prefer the fun woman. The one without standards, the one that will come back even if you disrespect her, the one that will beg for your attention. Stability, on the other hand, is very quiet. High standards are very quiet. A person with high standards also pushes you to be a better person, which most people don't want to be. Most people don't want to be loyal. Most people don't want to treat others right. I would say that from a man's perspective, this is also the difference between a wife and a girlfriend. And my goal here is definitely not to put women against each other. I'm not saying if you're like this, you're better than the other. But I want to teach you that you can have better in life and be better than being an insecure person. And even if you're a Carrie right now, you don't necessarily need to be a Natasha. You don't necessarily need to become a minimalist or have her classy style. You might like Carrie's style, but you can still have her high standards. You can still become a better person, you know? Now, even talking about Big was definitely toxic, and I feel like he was insecure as well. But he could never commit and have a stable relationship even in his 40s and 50s. But still, even he knew that Natasha was better than Carrie. He had a type. Everyone on TikTok is saying that if he had the chance, he would have gotten with Charlotte. Because even looking at his ex-wife, and even looking at the girls he lasted over while he was with Carrie, he always liked intelligent, career-driven, classy woman. He was attracted to high-value women, but he couldn't keep them. And he kept going for the fun one that would chase him. But he never really wanted to commit with Carrie. If you go back and watch the whole series back, you will realize that even though you might hate Big a little bit for how he treated Carrie, you will realize that he never wanted to commit to Carrie. He never even wanted a relationship with her. It was Carrie that made this whole thing in her head. He started chasing him, while he always told her that he never wanted a relationship. He never wanted to commit to her. Even when they got married, he left her at the altar. Okay, Big was a horrible person, but he never wanted to marry Carrie. This is what I'm saying. Well, with Natasha, just met her, and a few months later, he married her because she was his type. And again, I don't hate Carrie. She has a lot of positive aspects. I feel like she's fun, she's gorgeous, she has an impeccable style. I love her wardrobe, but she's also very toxic, very insecure. She's very attached to things. She's very childish as well. But yes, Big was also the problem for sure. He was definitely not a nice man, and he cheated on Natasha as well. I'm pretty sure that he cheated on his ex-wife as well. But still, he couldn't keep these women. But this is just a reflection of his insecurities and his issues. And what I'm saying here is that if you keep being the fun one, the one without standards, the one that chases men, the one that is very man-centered, all you will get in life is avoidant men. All you will get in life is the treatment that Big gave to Carrie. Natasha would have never allowed Big to leave her at the altar. The second that he disrespected her once, she left him and she moved on with her life. Never made a scene, never went back. And Big knew that. In fact, if you saw the film as well, this is the reason why he left her, I think, 1 million or more after his death, while he was married to Carrie. Because he knew exactly the type of woman she is and the type of woman Carrie is. And he never ever wanted to marry Carrie. So again, just to recap, my goal here is not to teach you how to become the kind of woman that men want to marry. Actually, the exact opposite. I want to show you that the more you take men off the center and the more you focus on yourself, the more you raise your standards and focus on your career, on your beauty, on your style, on your standards, on your emotions, the less you chase them and the more you will achieve, the more you will find stable men. But you will also get less men that want to treat you like that. Being a secure person can be very lonely, it's very quiet, but you can definitely be sure that you will only attract high value experiences in your life. And if you don't, you will be able and strong enough to walk away from them. So this is it for today. I really hope that you loved this video. As always, I appreciate you guys so much. Please leave a comment if you like this video, or if you have some requests, or if you want to give me your point of view on this. I always love when we have a little discussion in the comments. Again, I appreciate you guys so much, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.